Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. So far, I've been your host, Zero Yeti, and apologies if I start having a coughing fit in the middle of this episode. I have a cold. I'm trying to recover from it, but I figure I need to get an episode out. So let's go ahead and get into it with the first animal of the week being Squirrus griseus, better known as the Western Gray Squirrel. The Silver Gray Squirrel, the California gray squirrel, the Oregon gray squirrel, or the Colombian gray squirrel, also the bannertail, is a species of tree squirrel found along the western coast of the United States and Mexico. Here, the western gray squirrel inhabits coastal and montane deciduous coniferous and mixed forests. They are a diurnal arboreal animal which feeds upon seeds and nuts, particularly acorns, pine cones, berries, fungi, buds, flowers, leaves, twigs, insects, and occasionally carrion, eggs, and hatchling birds. They are scatter hoarders, making numerous caches of food when it is abundant, and thus contribute to the seed dispersal of their food trees. The western gray squirrels are themselves preyed upon by hawks, owls, eagles, bobcats, cougars, coyotes, raccoons, cats, dogs, and snakes. Reaching around 17 to 24 inches or 43 to 61 centimeters in length and 0.77 to 2.2 pounds or 0.35 to 1 kilogram in weight, the western gray squirrel is the largest native tree squirrel in the western coast of North America. Western gray squirrels exhibit a form of coloration known as counter shading, with the dorsal fur being a silvery gunmetal gray, with pure white on the underside. There also may be black flecks on the tail, and the ears are large without tufts and may turn reddish brown at the back in winter. That is my central air if you heard that turning on. The tail is long and typically very bushy, and it usually stays curved upwards in an S shape. Breeding occurs from December to July, and after a 44-day pregnancy, a mother western gray squirrel will give birth to 1 to 5 kits, which may remain in their nest for 6 months or more. Under ideal conditions, a western gray squirrel reaches sexual maturity around 10 to 11 months and may live upwards of 10 years. And next up is Lutejanus capunchinus, better known as the northern red snapper, the marrow, the hachin ango, the pargo, or the chilo. It is a species of marine rayfin fish belonging to the snapper family Luteganidae and is native to the western Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, where it can be found around reefs, rocky outcrops, oyster beds, sea ridges, offshore oil rigs, and shipwrecks around 30 to 300 feet or 9 to 900 meters in depth. They are gregarious and social animals which form large schools with snappers of similar size. Red snapper primarily feed upon various fish, shrimp, crabs, worms, cephalopods, and are themselves preyed upon by jacks, groupers, sharks, barracudas, eels, seals, sea lions, dolphins, whales, and porpoises. Reaching up to 20 inches or 100 centimeters in length and 50 pounds or 22.8 kilograms in weight, northern red snappers sport a sloped, laterally compressed body with a spiky dorsal fin. Spiny dorsal fin. Coloration of the northern red snapper is light red with more intense pigment on the back. It has 10 dorsal spines, 14 soft dorsal rays, 3 anal spines, and 8 to 9 anal soft rays. Juvenile fish, shorter than 30 or 35 centimeters, can also have a dark spot on their sides, below the interior soft dorsal rays, which fade with age. They have a long triangular face with upper part sloping more strongly than the lower, and the jaws are of equal length. They have enlarged canine teeth, which is where they get their common name of snapper. Breeding occurs during the summer, and spawning ensues in the early afternoon to the dusk hours, with females expelling anywhere from 1,000 to 2.5 million buoyant pelagic eggs, which are then externally fertilized by the males and hatch within 20 to 27 hours. Red snapper larvae settle out of the water column after around 20 days from hatching, and then they inhabit rocky, open, shelly sea bottoms. Under ideal conditions, the red snapper will sexually mature around 2 years of age and live upwards of 50. And next up is going to be a mouthful, so please forgive me. Nasi cabatrachus chayadrinus, better known as the purple frog, the Indian purple frog, or the pig-nosed frog, is a species of burrowing frog in the genus Nasi cabatrachus, which is endemic to the western Ghats region of India. The frog spends most of its life underground near streams, creeks, pools, ponds, and wetlands, surfacing only for a period of 2 weeks during the monsoon season in order to mate. With few scientists out in the field during the rainy season, the adult form of the species was only discovered and formally scientifically described in October of 2003. However, the tadpoles have been described in 1917 by Nelson Annadale and C.R. Narayanarao, and thought to belong to a completely different species. Unlike many other burrowing species of frogs that emerge and feed above the ground typically at night, the purple frog forages for food whilst completely submerged and or buried, feeding upon a variety of termites, grubs, larvae, worms, crustaceans, and aquatic insects. Reaching around 1 to 3.5 inches or 2.5 to 9 centimeters in length, and 3.5 to 7 ounces or 100 to 200 grams in weight. Males are typically around 1/3 of the length of females. The purple frog sports a robust, bloated, and rounded and dorsal ventrally flattened body. The flattened body assists them to cling to submerged rocks and boulders, which helps them fight against strong currents, allowing them to remain near stream banks, where they typically reside. The arms and legs splay out in the standard Orion body form, and purple frogs have a small head with unusually pointed snout. As their name suggests, adults are typically dark purplish gray in color, and during the monsoon season, males emerge to call beside temporary rainwater streams. Females approach, drawn in by their calls, and then pick up and carry the males on their backs to egg-laying sites, which are usually crevices in faster flowing streams. Here they will mate, with mother purple frogs laying some 3,000 eggs. The eggs soon hatch into tadpoles, which are molted yellow and purplish brown, with strong tails, broad heads, and oral suckers, which helps them to cling to rocks in the current. After 100 days, the tadpoles fully metamorphose into adults. Next up is Pelecanus occidentalis, better known as the brown pelican. It is a bird in the pelican family Pelecanidae, and one of 3 species endemic to the Americas, where they inhabit coastlines, estuaries, mangrove swamps, and shallow pelagic waters along the Atlantic coast from New Jersey to the mouth of the Amazon River, and along the Pacific coast from British Columbia to Peru, including the Galapagos Islands. Brown pelicans feed upon a variety of fish as well as the occasional crustacean, amphibian, and hatchling bird or egg. Besides its sister species, the Peruvian pelican, the brown pelican is the only pelican to primarily forage via diving. Flying around 60 to 70 feet or 18.2 to 21.3 meters above the water, they will scan below for schools of fish, which once located, the brown pelicans dive towards them bill first like a kingfisher, completely submerging as it attempts to catch as many fish as possible in its wide bill and throat pouch. Brown pelicans are themselves eaten by sharks and various raptors, particularly bald eagles, as well as sea lions, bobcats, feral dogs, alligators, crocodiles, squaws, and gulls. Reaching around 3.3 to 5 feet or 1 to 1.52 meters in length, and 4.4 to 11 pounds or 2 to 5 kilograms in weight, with a 6.8 to 7.6 foot or 2.03 to 2.28 meter wingspan, the brown pelican ranks amongst the largest flying birds in its regions, yet is the smallest of the 8 species of pelican. The brown pelican's breeding plumage is a white head with a yellowish wash on the crown. The nape and neck are dark maroon to brown in coloration, and the upper sides of the neck have white lines along the base of the gular pouch, and the lower foreneck has a pale yellowish patch. The breast and belly are dark brown, the webbed feet are black. The non-breeding adult has a white head and neck. Pink skin around the eyes becomes dull and gray in the non-breeding season, and the brown pelican is a monogamous breeder which often breeds from March till May, but does not pair for life. They are a colonial species, with males choosing a nesting site and then prospective females arrive. They then perform for each other to judge their compatibility. Once a pair forms and a bond, they build a nest out of reeds, leaves, pebbles, feathers, and sticks, some 3.3 to 10 feet or 1 to 3 meters off the ground. Here, 2 to 4 oval-shaped eggs may be laid and then incubated by both parents for some 28 to 30 days. The young stay with their parents until fledging after around 63 days. After that, juveniles leave the nest and gather into small groups known as pods. Under ideal conditions, a brown pelican will reach sexual maturity around 3 to 5 years of age and may have upwards of 30. Next up is Ceratotherium cymum. Better known as the white rhinoceros, the white rhino, or the square-lipped rhinoceros, is a species of rhinoceros native to sub-Saharan Africa. The white rhinoceros consists of two subspecies: the southern white rhinoceros, which with an estimated 18,000 wild living animals, and the much rarer northern white rhinoceros, with only 2 confirmed living individuals, both being captive females named Fatu and Najin. Sudan, the world's last known northern male white rhinoceros, died in Kenya on the 19th of March 2018 at the age of 45. Today, white rhinos can be found throughout South Africa, Namibia, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Kenya, and Uganda, where they inhabit long and short grass savannas, feeding upon grasses, sedges, forbs, flowers, and some leaves. White rhinos are themselves occasionally preyed upon by lions, hyenas, and crocodiles. The white rhino is the most social of all extant rhinos and lives in crashes of up to 14 animals. They are also deceptively fast animals, capable of reaching upwards of 30 miles per hour or 48 kilometers per hour in a sprint, with males reaching around 12 to 13 feet or 3.7 to 4 meters in length, 5.5 to 6.1 feet or 1.7 to 1.9 meters tall at the shoulder, and 4,410 to 5,070 pounds or 2,000 to 2,300 kilograms in weight, and females reaching 11 to 12 feet or 3.35 to 3.65 meters long, 5.25 to 5.8 feet or 1.6 to 1.8 meters tall at the shoulder, and 3,530 to 3,750 pounds or 1,600 to 1,700 kilograms in weight. The white rhino is the largest species of rhino and the 4th largest land animal after the 3 species of elephant. Although I suppose if mammoths come back, they'll make them the 5th largest. They are large, broad animals with thick gray skin. The white rhinoceros has 2 horns, with the front horn being much longer than the secondary horn. The head of the rhinoceros is almost rectangular in shape with a square snout. Breeding may occur year-round, with mates staying together for at least 520 days. After a 16-month pregnancy, a mother white rhino will give birth to a single calf, which will remain by the mother's side for 2 to 3 years. Under ideal conditions, a white rhino will reach sexual maturity around 6 to 7 years for females and 10 to 12 years for males. They may live upwards of 50 years. And next up, sorry, I'm just making sure I'm still recording. And next up is Hydrophis platyrus, better known as the yellow-bellied sea snake, is a venomous species of snake in the subfamily Hydrophinae, commonly known as the sea snakes. It is found throughout the entire tropical Indo-Pacific, from Africa's eastern coast to the west coast of North, Central, and South America, and from as far north as Japan to as far south as New Zealand. It is a completely pelagic species which is often observed in oceanic drift lines, using surface currents and storms to move around the ocean. They are a moderately social species, which may be found in large groups, often near floating debris. They hunt pelagic fish that are seeking shelter, which the snakes capture via backward swing motion and rapid lunge of the jaws. The ability to swim backwards is an unusual and distinguishing characteristic of the yellow-bellied sea snake. All snakes require fresh water to survive, and the yellow-bellied sea snake drinks surface precipitation that forms on the surface of seawater. Like that of other sea snakes, the venom of the yellow-bellied sea snake is amongst some of the most potent in the world, with several different neurotoxins and 2 other isotoxins, often causing intense skeletal muscle damage, paralysis, and renal failure. Thankfully, bites on humans are very rare, often on fishermen, which inadvertently catch these snakes in nets. And their bites can be treated with either beaked snake antivenom or tiger snake antivenom. Females are larger than males, reaching up to 35 inches or 89 centimeters in length, compared to males at up to 28 inches or 71 centimeters. These snakes sport a laterally compressed body with a paddle-like tail. They have a narrow, elongated head with valved nostrils and palatine seals for excluding seawater. They have reduced scales and skin developed for cuteness gas exchange, allowing for the absorption of some oxygen from the surrounding water through its skin whilst diving and swimming. The yellow-bellied sea snake, as the name implies, has a distinctive bicolor pattern with a yellow underbelly and a brown back, making them easily distinguishable from other sea snakes. However, they may appear more spotted or almost entirely yellow. Yellow-bellied sea snakes breed in warm waters, and they are ovoviviparous, with a gestation period around 6 months. Females giving birth to 2 to 9 young, typically in tide pools. Under no conditions, the yellow-bellied sea snake may live up to 10 years. And next up is our extinct animal week, Glycopsyche xerces. Better known as the Xerces blue butterfly or simply the Xerces blue, it is a recently extinct species of butterfly in the gossamer winged butterfly family, Lycaenidae. The species was first described and documented in 1852 and was named after the French spelling of Xerxes, which is the Greek name of the Persian king Xerxes I and Xerxes II of the 5th century BC. Reaching around 0.7 to 1.18 inches or 18 to 30 millimeters in wingspan length, the Xerces blue is a small, brightly colored butterfly characterized by its iridescent blue on the upper wing surfaces of males and blue spots on the underside of the wing. It was endemic to the coastal sand dunes of upper San Francisco Peninsula, where the Xerces fed upon vegetation belonging to the genus Lotus and Lupinus. The loss of the lotus plants that the butterfly fed on while in its larvae stages is believed to be the main reason for the extinction of the Xerces blue. As growing urban development resulted in extensive disturbance and loss of habitat, of which the lotus plants couldn't survive. Lupinus, the Xerces blue other main adult food source, was not suitable for the larval stages to feed upon. By the early 1940s, Xerces blue was driven to extinction, becoming one of the first and most well-known butterflies in the United States to be lost due to human impact. The last confirmed sighting of a Xerces blue occurred in 1943 on land that is now part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. The butterfly's extinction inspired the foundation of the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation in 1971, as well as ushering in the need for insect and invertebrate conservation into the public mindset. Today, there are ongoing efforts to reestablish related butterflies to the Xerces blue former habitat, such as the silvery blue and the Palos Verde blue. Also, the possibility of reviving the Xerces blue via de-extinction is being explored. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Hope you have a wonderful day.